and tennis shoes, but professional top and blazer, so fun.
I love it. You say hi. Say hi to Miss Melissa.
You are so cute. Hi.
Hi. I feel like he's like enamored by your background right now.
I'm a little enamored by my background right now. I didn't choose it. It just
Oh,
appeared.
really?
So
I love it.
I was like, okay, that's new. Because
I feel like
sometimes
the blazer too gives you like Star Trek vibes.
I
Like,
know it's very intense.
I feel like with some of your clients though, you need that intensity. They need that. They need to know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
There's been a lot of emails today. Let's just say that.
Oh man. Um, did everything go okay with pickup with your stepson and everything?
Yeah, yeah, she
Okay.
just my husband got stuck at work and then
Yeah.
she just needed me to come get him.
Okay.
So it
Good.
just I ended up driving like 4 hours, 4.5 hours yesterday. It's like,
Is
okay.
that usual or were they just somewhere else?
No, there was like construction happening and that slowed it down and then
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
raining, so people just it just took me like an extra half hour to get everything
Yeah.
done. So I was like,
Yep.
okay, because it's usually a 3 hour drive, but or excuse me, like 3.5, but it took me like four and a half just
There
because.
and back 3.5.
Yeah, there and back 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Like an
I was
hour and
thinking
a half to
like,
2 hours there, and then an hour and a half to 2 hours back. But there was just lots
yeah,
of construction, and then everyone was driving like they didn't know how to drive because it was
hmm,
raining, which
of
Chris
course.
knows how that goes down here. So
That's how we know like like native Floridians versus non-native Floridians. Like if they have their flashers on and they're driving like 10 miles below the speed limit, we're like, you're not from here. Like this is every day at 3 p.m. Like keep going.
yeah.
I know, buddy. All right, well, we'll just give a couple more minutes, see if anybody's late. It's hit or miss with office hours. It's a
No
time.
worries.
But the cool thing is it's recorded, so we'll post it there and probably post it in the free Facebook group as well. Because I think we're just going to get a lot out of this interview for sure. I know. What do you think? You think I'm going to touch every button on this computer? I
No,
know.
I'm going out of town this weekend and I got nails and I'm struggling like
I
being productive. They're like the
love
tiniest little
them.
nails ever.
Yeah, but they're cute.
But
That's how I would. That's how I get mine done if I ever get them done. I get them done like twice a year, and that's how I get them done.
I know I'm struggling. I'm like really struggling. Like I'm trying to type and I feel like a ball.
When I worked in the schools, I had gotten them like for in my opinion, I had gotten them long, but like they I guess were not. And I felt like I was pecking. Like I'm like, how do people do this? Like I'm mistyping everything. I'm like, this is insane. I don't understand how some of these females do this.
I don't either. And like my whole job is like computer programming and typing and
Yeah.
emails. And I'm
Exactly.
like, I keep hitting the caps lock and then wanting to choose silence.
They're like, well, these will be off by the time I get back. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started. Grab. Keep my eye on there, make sure nobody is in or out. So we will kind of just get started with an introduction with everything. So Melissa, we wanted to bring you on mainly because, Christy and I have our coaches meetings every week, and I highlight, clients' struggles, but also a lot of clients' wins and resiliency. And your name comes up all the time. Like I'm just like, Melissa had this going on this week, or Melissa had another injury happen, but she has found a way to persist. She's taken everything that we've talked about. She has implemented everything, and I mean, it's been just a beautiful journey to watch, Melissa. It really has, and I'm so happy that you trusted us and allowed me to be a part of this journey for sure. So if you want, can you just like briefly introduce yourself to us, just what you do, your family, anything you wanted to tell us?
Yeah, so my name is Melissa Adcock Montoya, and so I am 33 years old, and I do have a family. So I am married. So my husband Paul, I do have my husband, and then I have my two kids. So I have my 17-year-old stepson and my 5-year-old daughter, and I live in southern New Mexico.
Yeah. It's just such a beautiful family too, and you have such a strong support in Paul too, which has been so wonderful to watch and to see. Which, because I mean, I know we like to say we're lucky, but it's what every woman deserves. But it's such a big help on your fitness journey and everything for sure. So kind of talk to us a little bit about when you first were joining with us. What were some of the struggles, right? Like, what were you trying before you joined with us?
So before I joined with your team, I pretty much had tried everything, right? Like I was one of those people who had literally like if I saw an infomercial at 4 a.m. for something, I was like, sure, let's buy it. Let's try it, right? Like, why not? I had done keto, I had done Atkins, I had done carnivore, I had done let's work out 7 days of the week and kill ourselves in the gym. I had done, hey, let's buy this random $200 home Pilates kit. All the things, right? So I just was like bouncing from thing to thing. I was struggling. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. I just knew I was supposed to be doing
Right.
something. So, when I say I literally tried all the things, like I remember telling Christy on our very first call together, like all the things I've tried, and like her
Oh,
face, she was just like, "So you've really tried all the things?" And I was like,
so for
"Yes, I have
real.
really tried all the things." Um, and so not to say that those things wouldn't be effective, right? Like for some people, I just felt like I was like not understanding something or missing something, or maybe I was doing it wrong. But it had been a very long struggle just because of how I had my daughter. So I had, I was on some fertility hormone medication to have her. I had gained about 40 pounds on that. And then I had her and I only gained 20 pounds on pregnancy, but between 40 pounds and 20 pounds, all of a sudden you gain 60 pounds and you feel like a completely different person. So since the fertility hormones and since having my daughter, I had just struggled so much on trying to figure out like what do I do? Like how do I even try
Yeah.
this? I had an emergency C-section, which I didn't have like a nice C-section. I have a 14-inch C-section scar. So like that was a really big struggle the first year to get back into any kind of anything because there was a lot of pain associated. Um,
Pain
so
and disconnect into what felt normal
yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, well, I could lift before, and now I can't even lift my daughter off the ground while I'm like standing up without pain. So,
Yeah.
like, it was just so much just confusion and just let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And I honestly felt like it was probably a lot of like bouncing around too. So, pretty much tried everything.
Yeah. And so I feel like that was like on the physical side and the nutrition side too, right? Like trying keto, trying different teas, trying different fat burning supplements and things. And we've all gone down that road. I have, Christy has, so many different people have, because it seems like, and Instagram and Facebook and society, they make it seem like it works. And so
Mhm.
I don't think it's any fault of any women to try those things, because it's like, okay, like this person, it's telling me it's working. I have all these reviews. Like I gotta try something because nothing's working. And I think, especially for you, it was that postpartum period where things just weren't happening.
Mhm.
And so it became to the point that when you got with us, you were averaging about 800, 700 to 800 calories a day. You were working out at least 6 to 7 times a week, with cardio at least 3 to 4 times within there as
Mhm.
well. And at that point, you had been stuck in a plateau for probably, a year. I think we were
Yeah.
about, yeah,
I
and
hadn't
consistently.
gained anything, but I hadn't lost anything either. So,
Yeah. So we were in this cycle of being afraid to go after increasing food, afraid of taking away any kind of form of exercise, because even though I'm not losing, I'm not gaining, and that's a plus. So you came to us, and that was scary. It was very scary for you to make that shift, because while feeling at the time like nothing's happening, the fear of going in the other direction almost stopped you
mhm.
from so what is it about the call with Christy that kind of triggered you to say, you know what, I'm going to do it?
So I had already kind of made a decision before the call with Christy.
Yeah, I love that.
I had already talked to my husband about it, and I was like, I'm just going to talk to him one more time about it just to make sure he's okay with this again, even though he had already told me like, why are you asking me again for this? I was like, oh my God, just do it, right?
Yeah.
But my friends had, referred Christy to me because she knew her from the gym, and they had gone to the same gym together, and she was like, she did like competitive weightlifting, and I had asked her, I was like, how in the world are you eating so much? Because she was always like posting like, I'm eating this, I'm eating that. And I'm like, how are you eating all of this? And like,
Right.
you do that, right? I was like, because I'm doing it and that doesn't look the same, right? Like it's not
Right.
something. And she goes, well, I hired a coach. She goes, I
Mm,
had to hire a coach to really figure out what I needed to do to
yeah.
get things right. And she was like, my coach specializes in like bodybuilding and weightlifting stuff, but I know this person who specializes in mom stuff. And I was like,
Postpartum,
well, please refer me, right? Like, please do.
yeah.
And so she did, and that's how I met Christy. And I just knew I needed something to change. And I was at a point where I was like, you know what? Whatever I've been doing obviously isn't working. Like it's been 3, 4 years. I've tried everything. So like by the time I got to the coach part, I was like, you know what? I probably need a coach because obviously I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Right. So
I've tried it all. Nothing's working. I need a different approach
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
by the time I started meeting with Christy and we were talking about everything, I was like, if she says yes, I'm saying yes, right? Like I'm just gonna go talk to my husband about it because I don't want to be that person that's like, hey, I did this thing and I
Right.
didn't tell you about it, but we're doing this. Um,
Well,
but
that
he's
goes
on
back
board
into
for
the
it.
support that both of you guys, the support and mutual respect you guys show each other, like it's something that's needed on both sides. So you were ready to join us, and you dove in with me and you really did. And I knew how hard it was for you because I asked you to do some things and I laid out a plan for you that when you were like, okay, but really? And I'm like, yeah. So did it feel, what was the thing that kind of felt different within the first couple, I would say couple weeks or month when you were with me?
Right away was the energy. So right away was a lot of energy. I didn't feel as groggy during the day. I didn't have a lot of that mind fog during the day. You were just absolutely adorable. So that was a big thing. Like, and I still had a hard time wrapping my mind around like the causation of that, right? Like food plus this equals you're having energy. So like I've still just the first couple weeks I was like, but really? Like, is
That
this the
actually
reason or like is there other
did.
reasons? Like what's going on, right? And like in my brain it was hard. I was like, oh well, I hired a coach, so maybe that's why. But in reality, it was like, no, your coach is telling you to do these things and you're doing it and you're eating like real
Right.
food. And it was just a whole different ballpark of just like how I felt in the morning when I woke up. Like I didn't feel like I got hit by a truck every morning when I woke up. Um,
Yes.
I didn't feel like I was so tired in the evenings. Like I was falling asleep on the couch at 5 o'clock because I was so exhausted. And I didn't even make that mental correlation that it's because I wasn't feeling my body correctly enough to actually like do anything.
Well, I can see it, and I think in your defense, I can see why that would be hard because the weight loss wasn't happening. Everything everybody tells you is that it's the science, right? Calories in, calories out. If you
Yes.
are consuming less than you are burning, you should lose weight. And while there is a science to that, the female body likes to give the middle finger to that
Mhm.
because what you went through with fertility treatments and then pregnancy and then a traumatic birth as well, your body was a little bit in revolt at that time. We weren't sure what hormones were doing, the back and forth with food intake and everything. It was very, very hard on your body. And so it inevitably plateaued. And so we had to really break past some of that mindset shift and really lean into the fact that we have to just start with feeling your body and we have to start with taking away the exertion that you're going through with yourself.
Mhm.
Because I know you remember, we didn't just jump up to 2000 calories.
We did not.
We did not.
Baby
It was
fat.
a very slow process. So at the same time, we had to say, okay, we're going to go from 7 workouts a week to 4. We're going to go from 6 cardio sessions to 2. And we're going to go from 800 calories to 1000 calories. But you got to hit it every day. So was that a hard process to trust at first?
Yes and no. So I trusted you all and your knowledge completely. What I didn't trust was my own body. And
Mm,
that's where I'm still having some of those reservations because I had seen like so many things of like, oh, this is how like A plus B equals C, right? Like that's how it's always been in my mind. But for me, I was always like, well, obviously I'm not doing the plus B to equal C
mhm.
somehow.
Right.
So I knew that you all knew exactly what you were doing, and I was just very skeptical of like, okay, but is this even going to even work for my body, right?
Am I
Uh,
the outlier?
so that's why I was just like, okay, let's do it. Like, I remember I would be sitting there eating stuff, and I'd be like, I really don't want to eat this. Like, this is dumb, but I'm going to eat because I know I need to eat. And my husband would just laugh sometimes because he'd be like, "Are you just sitting on the couch eating a chicken breast that you boiled?" And I was like, "Yes, don't judge me right now."
I need my protein, okay?
So he would just be like, "Okay, that's weird, but okay." So, I mean, just all those kind of things. And I was like, "Okay, well, I've done everything else. So, like,
Yeah.
let's do this." Right. And so that's where, like, it was hard at first, but I trusted you all. I just didn't trust myself more. And that was the biggest thing to kind of get into is I needed to figure that out.
I love that. And I honestly, that take on it is something I hadn't thought of before. I think it was like a lot of the time that I would think women just wouldn't trust the process, which is understandable, right? But hearing you say that and saying, like, no, 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 I know you had the knowledge. It was me and my fear of the fact that I've tried 5 million different things and it's I the problem, is my body the problem there. But the end result was you did trust us and you followed the plan and we slowly increased calories. And within, I think, about 8 weeks, we were up to around, 1,200, 1,300 calories and weight was coming off.
Mhm.
And so with the extra energy, with the weight coming off, it was just really exciting to see you being like, oh my God, like something's happening. I haven't lost a pound in a year and now I'm eating more food. I'm doing less in the gym and things are happening.
Yes.
So, I mean, for me, it was like, I know, like, but also, just for somebody like you who came to us with trying everything and to see your positivity around it, it's the best feeling. It's why, Christy and I do what we do for sure. So were there any other benefits that you were seeing when we did focus on that healing and building your metabolism?
So, like I was saying, the energy portion, I was
Mhm.
stronger in the gym. Like it was crazy how I had been going to the gym and I had been lifting 7 days a week, but I wasn't getting any stronger. And it was still a struggle to lift like smaller weights, right? And
Mhm.
so I was like, I mean, obviously, once again, I was like, well, I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know what I'm doing, right? So,
Yeah.
and my son would come with me sometimes and he's a high school boy and all of a sudden he's like powerhousing through like 300-pound leg presses without even
I
flinching
know.
in warm up. And I'm over here like, 125 pounds, just giving it my all. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on, right? Like, is it just because he's like a 17-year-old boy? Like, what's up with that?
Right,
Uh,
right.
and then I started following the process and getting protein in, and all of a sudden, that 125 pounds was easy. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't even a struggle. I could do it with one leg, and it was like, oh, that's different. Doing leg extensions with 55 pounds, that was easy. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it was like, well, that's okay. Okay.
Okay, wait a
So
minute.
all of those things were just very, very different. I've always struggled with the sleeping, but the sleeping was getting better. We've worked on sleeping for a
We've
year.
worked on
I am not one of those
it.
people who sleeps easy. I fell asleep at 5, I'd wake up at 9, and then I wouldn't go back to bed. So I
Yeah.
get an average of like 4 hours of sleep a night and just function off that. But I wasn't crashing out at 9 o'clock. So that was another difference too. Or
Yeah.
excuse me, 5 o'clock in the
5 o'clock. Yeah.
evening. Like I wouldn't just be sitting on the couch, like completely zoning out and falling asleep.
Right.
Around 8 or 9, I would start to get tired, especially if I went to the gym before dinner. All of a sudden, I had those
Yeah.
endorphins kick in, and it really helped put me in a better sleep cycle too. And so
Absolutely.
that was really great to kind of experience as well. Plus, I wasn't half as feisty with things. So,
Yeah.
always
I
good.
think that's a big one that people don't like to credit sometimes. And it's like you're able to have more of a routine and you start to feel better, and therefore you're less quickly to anger.
Mhm.
You have a better hold on certain boundaries as you start to take care of yourself. And for you, Melissa, I don't think in your introduction, you didn't give yourself justice as to the professional that you are.
Oh, I
Um,
forgot about that.
you did not. And so Melissa is a badass businesswoman. You work within computer software, computer engineering, correct?
Yes.
And yes. And so you are dealing with a lot of different companies who rely on you. And whether or not that is what should be happening, whether or not they should be relying on you at that time, you have to respond to a lot of people who can be very angry and who can direct their anger towards you. And hey, hey, chill, chill, thank you. And so you have to monitor your own stress levels. And that's very hard. And that was impacting your sleep. I think that was impacting the direction that your weight loss journey was on. But you have worked very, very hard to enact those boundaries, and with the help of, your boss and everything. But that has come a very long way as well.
It has. Don't respond to emails at 1 in the morning anymore. We're working on
Exactly.
boundaries. We're working
You
on boundaries.
are hopefully sleeping at that time. And even if we do wake up, we do not look at the phone.
No.
The other thing I'm thinking about too is being more present, right? Because it's like you're not thinking about health and fitness 24/7 anymore, because it's like, oh my gosh, I am losing weight. I have found something
Yeah.
that works. So it's like
That
I
was a
don't
huge
need
thing
to be
too.
constant. Yeah, I don't need to be constantly thinking about all that stuff anymore to
Yeah,
come
I
out of
definitely
my
think that was
field.
a big component as well.
Yeah.
So things were happening. Food was high. We had worked ourselves up to right around 2,200 calories, I believe. I think we got to the point where we had lost about 15 to 16 pounds.
Mhm.
We're on about week 20 or so. So food was high. Great. Workouts are consistent. Stress was in a result where we were managing it. So we started to see some results slow, right? So kind of stopped losing. We stayed right. We maintained that weight loss, which was fantastic, especially since going from 700 calories a day to 2,200. So we're not going to take away from that. The fact that we maintained a 15 to 16 pound loss and increasing calories by about 1,500 is absolutely mind blowing. So amazing in that. So where we wanted to go from there was say, okay, we worked really, really hard from there. We got your metabolism in a beautiful spot. You're maintaining that weight loss. So let's cut back calories a little bit. Let's see what happens when we do that. So when that happened, we started to see a little bit of things happening, but overall results were slowing. So kind of what were your feelings when those results started to slow a little bit?
So there were days, it was very much like a roller coaster of days sometimes. Like sometimes I'd wake up and I'm like, nope, I'm still building muscle, like this is fine,
Yes.
right? Like just because I'm not losing weight doesn't mean I'm not replacing what I'm doing with muscle, so this is fine. And then there are other days where I just like lay on the floor and cry and think I was a potato. So, it was very like pendulum between the two sometimes, which we can also probably blame on hormones. But I still knew that it was going to work. And I put this in almost every single one of my check-ins I do with y'all.
Yes.
Like when we're talking about like the short-term and long-term goal, like I know it's going to happen because I am being very consistent with my eating. I'm being very consistent with my working out as much as I can, with all the super fun things that we've had happen
Yes.
between like
Yeah.
blown eardrums, vertigo, and like cysts and, you know, all the things we've had happen. As much as I can, I've been consistent. And so I know it's going to happen. Like, I also know, and I hear a lot that, you don't just wake up and change what you look like. Like, this is not a 30-day fix. This is not a 60-day fix. Like, it took you how many years to get to this point? What is it going to take to get you back to where you came from? So I had to remember that. But there was still some frustration because once again, mentally it came back on me of like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
And that's where I always come back to just because I'm one of those people that, A plus B equals C. So what in the equation am I doing wrong
Yes.
that this isn't working? And so that's kind of where my mindset was when I had some of those stalls.
Yeah, and I think that's very logical for type A women who, and especially somebody in computer engineering where A plus B does equal C all the time, every day. It doesn't matter, right? Like these things add up. There's always an answer. It's hard to see a woman's body who sometimes the answers aren't always there in black and white. Sometimes they're hidden in certain hormone levels that maybe are showing optimal on the doctor's lab reports, but they're not optimal for you, right? And there's just certain things that were not adding up. And even I said, you know what, with as hard as she's working in the consistency that we're showing, she is doing amazing benefits. And I know that there's something here that is missing from the equation.
Mhm.
And so after thinking about it for a while and talking with Christy for a little bit, we both were, Christy and I both, as fitness professionals, we knew this new thing on the market has been coming out. And that was GLP-1s. And when they first came out, Christy and I are like, absolutely not. Like, this is bullshit. This is an easy fix. It's just injections. People aren't putting in the work. Like, this is crappy. We don't want to go down this road.
Mhm.
And so then as fitness professionals should do, we kept up with the research. And we kept seeing more and more research come out pointing to the benefits of a GLP-1 for certain clients and for certain people who have worked their ass off and maybe are just having a little bit of a plateau and missing a certain peptide with a naturally occurring peptide within the body that can help boost their metabolism, that can help regulate hormones, that can get things moving as they continue to do the same things that they were doing before. And so you and I had that conversation. And we said, you know what? How do you feel about this, Melissa? Because we have been in the mindset of, let's do this the right way. Let's do this in the way where we set the foundations and then it's going to lead to the results. And so for one of the first times, I was open to the idea of, you know what? I think you are one of the people in the population who will benefit from this because you put your foundations in place and you, I know of all people, are going to continue that as you go. So what helped you make the decision to talk to your doctor and to go ahead and start GLP-1 without the guilt or shame?
So that was primarily talking to you, actually, because I have had friends on it. I have seen some have success. I've seen a good chunk of them actually have failure on it, because it was also one of those things as I started looking at it, like, yeah, the first couple of weeks they were bragging about it. And then after a couple months, all of a sudden it was like nothing ever happened. And I was like, okay, so does this even really work? Or is it just one of those 30 days, get rich quick fixes, right?
Right.
And so I started doing some reading on it. You sent me that wonderful podcast on it, and I listened to that, and I was like, you know what? I've tried everything else. Like, why the hell not? It's one of those that, like, let's do it too. So that's where, after you and I had talked a little bit, and I was like, I feel like if my coach feels like this is a safe option, like it's worth looking at, because I was trusting you some of those conversations, because like you were saying, like, this is not something the fitness industry was like super thrilled about. So obviously if we're having those conversations were valid and in the right place versus just like, we need to drop weight quick kind of concepts.
Right. Sorry, I had to kick the dogs out.
No worries.
And so that is why I wanted to have that conversation with you first. And I was so proud of you for, sir, we're okay, for being so open to it. And because you're right in that a lot of people who start these medications go into it with the mindset of a quick fix, of something that all I have to do is do an injection and all my problems will be solved. I can keep all my bad habits. I can survive on a Dr. Pepper and a McDonald's hamburger a day, and I'm going to brag about it to all my friends. But what happens in 2 months or 6 months, however long, and the injections stop and the hunger comes back full force and you've done nothing to establish your habits? The inevitable weight gain, not to mention the damage that you've done to your bone density during that time, because they're not working out. There's absolutely no protein being consumed. So there's just so many detriments to it at that point that I would never have somebody start with me on a GLP-1. But you, somebody who has proven to me over and over and over again that even with obstacles, even with vertigo, cyst, the size of oranges or baseballs, they're about the same size.
Orange.
Orange. Yeah, I think they're about the same
size though. Yeah.
Even with all of those things happening, you persist nonetheless. And I'm like, you know what? If anybody can do this, it's Melissa. So it was amazing. So we said, okay, and your doctor was like, hey, you're unlike anybody I've ever seen asking you to start this. You have food logs from 2 years back, right? You are showing me that you're telling me you work out 4 to 5 days a week, strength training, and you consume an adequate amount of protein. Like, hell yeah, let's do this, my girl. And like, so she was all about it. So you started, how long has it been specifically now? I didn't want to get that wrong.
Let's see, it was the last week of May that I started. So about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. So What do you feel do you feel that the biggest change was the weight loss, or was there any changes with how you're feeling or anything like that?
So there wasn't any changes with how I was feeling. So I talked to my doctor about that. I am on the very lowest dose humanly possible. Her and I talked very extensively about that. Um, some people go even up to like 25 milligrams for things because they're trying to get stuff done quick and move quickly. I'm on 2.5, right? Like I'm literally on like the tiniest baby dose humanly possible, just because her and I had those conversations. I apparently need that peptide. Like we did blood work, we looked at all the things. I researched all the different ones. She did as well, and we talked about the different ones, and she picked the one that had the two peptides in it, which is the trizepatide zepbound one. Because she's like, you know, based on your blood work and based upon things we're looking at, she goes, I feel like your body just doesn't have these to
Yeah,
kickstart that metabolism. She's like,
right.
I'm looking at your blood work for your metabolism. And she goes, you're telling me that you spent a year rebuilding this. She goes, that's great. It's still lower than normal people's.
Right.
And so she was like, this is definitely like a prime thing for you. So I didn't really have any side effects other than like the first week, you know, the average constipation stuff, just because it slows down your food processing. That was about the worst I had, honestly, was just some constipation, which then completely disappeared after that. Um, we are keeping
How,
it.
I was just thinking, how validating though, right? For you,
Mhm.
Melissa, feeling like you've done all of these things and you're like, oh my God, is it me? And in a sense, it is, right? It was your body, but it's not,
Definitely.
it wasn't your action, right? I feel
Yes.
like that's so like, oh my gosh, like I knew it was something.
Yes, and I think finally talking to a doctor who like that was her like
Yeah.
specialty, right? Like because I've had, you know, male doctors before, I've had other female doctors before, and like literally even the most recent one I had, like I'm pretty sure I messaged both of you crying, the last one I had like a year ago, where I was like, I'm doing all these things and they're still telling me eat less, move more, eat less, move more. And
Oh my
obviously I'm
gosh. It was
alcoholic. And I'm like, I
awful.
haven't had a drink in over a year. Like, what is going on right now with my life? I'm
Absolutely.
so frustrated. And so finally having somebody who like listened about that and then was like, I'm running every single blood work panel we can possibly get on you that your insurance is going to cover. And then they even did the metabolic panel, and she was like, well, there it is, right? Like your metabolism's like that of like a 90-year-old man sleeping in a bed all day. I was like, and that's the good part of it. Like that's after working at it for a year, right?
Right. Right.
So,
Imagining what those levels would have been like before you had started with us.
right.
Like, yeah.
Right. I was like, oh, and that's after like some major rehab. Okay, cool. We're going down that path. Um, but talking to her about that lowest dose possible for it. So like I didn't lose a ton of weight right away. And I'm still not losing a ton of weight right away. We're being very, very slow with this, consistent of like 1 to 2 pounds max a week, which is what we were aiming for, not on the GLP-1.
Right.
So, and that's kind of where we want to stay. Like her and I even had a recent conversation like 2 weeks ago about, you know, increasing doses. And she's like, I don't want to. And I was like, cool, because I don't want to either.
Right.
Um,
And what a lot of people who, you hear a lot of people talk about, oh, you're going to have these awful, awful side effects. You're going to have extreme constipation. You're going to have, stomach pain. You're going to have nausea. A lot of people are vomiting, like, and that's because a lot of people are starting on a gigantic dose of it. Because a lot of doctors are very general with it. They are not client specific. And so they go on this, and I'm sorry, he has the water bowl. Sorry if that's loud. So they start on like they start them on like a one dose, and then slowly it's like, okay, next week we're gonna go to 5. Next week we're gonna go to 10. And it's not asking how your body is. It's not asking anything. It's just, you want quick results? Here you go, I got you.
yeah.
Whereas this doctor's like, no, you already have the foundations in place. You just need a little extra help. We've got to get your body to where your metabolism's working for you. And that 0.25 is doing it for you. So kudos to your doctor. I adore her. I love her. I wish every client could have a doctor who listens like she does.
I think the other aspect of things too is, Melissa, you brought this up earlier, talking about people who start GLP-1s and then they're losing like 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds a week. And it's easy to kind of like compare yourself, because I've talked to a ton of other women who say the same thing and they feel like a failure. Well, I'm only losing a pound a week. And it, to me, I'm like, only if you lost 1 pound a week for a year, you lose 52 pounds. Like, that's incredible. But I think the other thing that a lot of people don't think about, and they don't, because they've never heard this before, is losing weight rapidly is actually like it's not a good thing.
No.
Because it usually indicates like, well, it's probably not coming off in a sustainable way. So I'm not going to be able to maintain that weight loss. So it doesn't really matter. But number two, we're not just losing fat, we're losing weight. So we're probably losing some water weight because we're dehydrated. And then the big thing is like your metabolism goes down because you're not eating as much on the GLP-1s. So we're losing muscle. So for most people, we want to lose at maximum 1% of your body weight per week. So I think that sometimes it can be very difficult to be on a low dose and to say, oh, I'm only losing this amount, or I'm only doing this, when you see all of these things. But it's really nice to have people in your corner being like, no, we're good. Like, this is good. This is a really, really like best case scenario.
And she was so excited that I already had you all on my team for looking at macros and looking for workout plans, because her biggest thing was, she goes, I see individuals coming through. She's like, they want to drop 150 pounds. She goes, one, you can't drop 150 pounds. That's like literally not even physically possible for you. She goes, two, you're already doing the things that I need you to do. She's like, I need you to be weightlifting. She's like, I need you to be consuming protein. I need you to be drinking minimum 100 ounces of water a day on a GLP-1. So all these things. And I'm like, well, look, here's my beautiful log on all of my macros, on all of my water intake and my sleep intake and my fiber intake. And she's like, you need to be doing 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. And I'm like, here it is. Right?
There you go.
Set that up. And so she was so excited to just see all of that. And she was like, you're like literally like the golden program child of what we're looking for, especially when we're talking to insurance, because we did get prior auth, and my insurance didn't even flinch at prior auth. My insurance was like, done, because I already had all of those records from you and your team showing macro tracking and weight tracking and measurement tracking for the past 50 something weeks. So
Exactly.
that just made it so easy to just have those conversations with her and the insurance company.
And I think that's such a big point too. And, I was only going to touch on it if you were comfortable with it, but the fact that insurance is covering it. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's not for me. It's $500 a month or so. And for somebody, insurance was so open to it because you had the foundations in place, because you were doing all the things that you should be doing. And so that was a really big point for you. And why you were saying like I was open to it was because insurance covered it. I'm not going to really be able to afford it if not. But it was really cool to see insurance open to it because of everything we've been doing together.
Yes, the doctor was very clear about that too. She was talking about how, this is not a guarantee. Insurance doesn't always cover these things. She goes, you and these logs that you're showing me, she goes, we have a really good shot of this. And sure enough, I mean, I do have private insurance, so that's very handy. But the insurance, it's $25 a month. So it was very nice to do that.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, we know the things and we've talked about it, but just want to really hone into people what we have prioritized to keep your body strong, to keep your muscle growth still occurring, and to keep things going and keep your metabolism strong while you've been on the GLP-1. So can you hit on that a little bit?
Yes. And so you all have already set these foundations wonderfully for me as my coaches with all of those macros and everything we've been working on. And the doctor was like ecstatic that we had, a plan already. But protein is the number one thing. So like getting your protein in, because protein builds your muscles and you need to keep your muscles good to go during a GLP-1. So she was like, you need to be lifting and you need to be eating protein. She's like, we don't want muscle loss because muscle loss gives tons of other problems. So she was like, you need to be doing strength training. She was like, cardio? She goes, yeah, do cardio maybe 1 or 2 times a week. She goes, other than that, you need to be building your muscles to support your body and working with your protein. drinking water, which you guys make us drink water. Like I was like, no, done. Like we drink like 4 Stanleys a day. It's fine. So drinking water, she was like, we need to be drinking water on a GLP-1. We need to be flushing out our system so we don't get any of those stomach issues. So we don't get any of those bathroom issues, like water, water, water. And so she was just very adherent on that. And then the fiber too, which you guys are already having us do the fiber, 35 grams of fiber. So all the things she was telling me that we need to focus on are the same things you all were already telling us that we need to focus on to be successful with a GLP-1. Because she was very blunt. She was like, if you do nothing, this isn't going to work.
Right.
She was like, a super low dose isn't going to work. A super high dose is going to work for 3 months and then it's going to come all right back. She was like, you have to have a lifestyle that you have committed to for this to be something that is consistently going to work for you and keep working for you once you're off of it.
Right. Oh my gosh. It is just so amazing to hear that, because I think somebody who is starting a GLP-1, whether or not the foundations are in place or not, they're making a step, right? They're saying something's wrong here. I need to make a step in changing my life. So there is no hate towards anybody who wants to start a GLP-1. Where it comes in though is, how hard was it to make that decision to say that you needed to make a change? How are you then going to be expected to change your entire diet, change your entire lifestyle around the gym, change your entire exercise routine? It took a long time for you to be able to implement that. So could you imagine trying to do that all and hurry up and do it every single day for 3 months to make sure you get the most out of the GLP-1? Trying to do it. Sir, we're almost there. Chill. Trying to do it while you have a medicine that's declining your appetite. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do all that. So it just benefited you so much to have those foundations in place. And I think that is why we are seeing the sustained slow weight loss. And I say slow, but it's not negative. It's exactly what we're wanting. And it's why it's happening for you while you're not experiencing low energy, while you're not experiencing any nausea, any vomiting, any low or other side effects because of that. Hey, dude. So I think that that's absolutely incredible. And I'm so excited for you and that you have kept up with all of this during this time. So
Literally best case scenario.
yeah, it really is. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So, in kind of closing this out, there's a lot of women out there who are stuck in what you were stuck in, Melissa. Yo-yo diets, fat burning supplements, bouncing from program to program, trying to exercise every single day, not knowing how to strength train effectively. So what would you say to that version of you from a year ago?
Looking back a year ago, thinking about it, I think I would give myself some grace, honestly. Because a year ago, I wasn't giving myself any grace. A year ago, I was like, I'm the problem. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like, I'm just obviously not working hard enough. I'm not doing enough things. I'm not being enough. And that's something you and I have worked with a lot too. Not just on weight stuff, but also like mental stuff too, on like, what we're worth and how we're doing things. So I think looking back, a year ago, just telling myself like, give yourself some grace because you are doing the things and it's not going to be an instant quick fix, which I already knew it wasn't going to be, but I still felt like it was all my fault and I wasn't being enough. I wasn't being a wife enough. I wasn't being a mom enough. I wasn't being somebody who was into fitness enough. And so it's taken a long time to get to that point and also realize like just because it is me doesn't mean it's me for a bad reason. And I can still go find things to ask for help and figure out and advocate for myself while giving myself grace at the same time and not just, going full bore into like this crazy cycle of like, how do you punish yourself for not meeting those expectations? So that's really where it was a year ago, is just changing that mindset. Which I still do. I still have a hard time sometimes, but we're working on it.
Well,
I think
that's what
everyone does.
as coaches do.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a tough ride. But I love that answer because it's not, and like we talked about in the beginning of this, it's not that woman's fault that everything is pointing towards this being the next thing that's going to fix you, this being the next thing. So give that person grace and allow them the time to find something like this, right? That works. And that is going to give you the foundations to build on and know that this is it. I don't ever have to buy another fad burning supplement. As much as I asked Jess if I need this thing that popped up on my Instagram, and Jess has to tell me no.
I'm not going to take Irish sea moss today, okay? Like, we're not going to eat Irish sea moss for no reason.
We don't have to do that, Melissa. I mean, you can if you want, but no, you don't have to buy that. Yeah. So I guess, one of the questions I think a lot of people would want to know is, what would you want other women to know about using a GLP-1?
Definitely do your research, number one. So there's a lot of miscommunication out there about it. There's a lot of weird stories about it. And I think that's where it really helped me was I just full bore went in and just started doing research on it. Like, what is it? I looked at the podcast Jess sent. What does it do to your body? Just because you hear all of these like random horror stories from like people who are like, this is great, to people who are like, my kidneys failed on day 2. And you're like, what is going on right now? So like just do your research and kind of decide, where you need to be in this process. I'm sticking at the lowest dose possible, right? Like my body is not probably going to be very happy if I go like there's no possible way I'm going to go up to a 25 milligram dosage and feel okay with that. Like that's a lot on your body, right? However, 2.5 is a smaller dose and we're going to see how it works. So do your research and ask questions. I have a direct line of communication to my doctor and the team that she's on, and I text the instant messenger all the time with just like random questions about like, hey, I had this weird thing happen in the bathroom. Is that part of it? Like, TMI on that level, but like I'm one of those people who I'm like, well, I might as well ask, right? Because like if I don't ask and then something goes wrong, like why didn't I ask? So I ask all the questions and I spent an hour asking her questions when we first started this, just because I wanted to know all the things and I researched. So do your research is the biggest thing. Find out which one is going to work best for you because there's a bunch on the market. There is a bunch on the market and they're going to work different for everybody. And so look at which one might work best for you. And if it doesn't, don't be afraid to tell your doctor, hey, this is like horrible. Let's try another one, right? Because she even said that. She goes, if this is just kicking your butt and your body's not handling this well, let's try another one. So which thankfully my body responded beautifully to the first one we tried, but there's a lot of people who it doesn't. And don't be afraid of that just because you want that weight loss. Like, don't be afraid of stopping it and trying something else just because you're so desperate for that weight loss. So.
I don't think I could have given any better advice. That was fantastic. I love to do your research, and it's for a multitude of reasons, right? Number one, like you can advocate for yourself.
Mhm.
You know to ask, hey, can I get a load? Like the thing that I am thinking of this whole time is like giving birth, right? Like knowing the birthing process, knowing because it's like if a nurse comes in and says, hey, we're doing this, it's like, actually, I would like to do that. Like, but you're informed, right? Like you're educated, and so you feel so much better about being able to advocate for yourself and say, well, I'd like to do this because of X, Y, Z, rather than just taking blind advice. So I love that. And also the advice that you were saying is like, don't be afraid to kind of like experiment, because I've talked with a lot of women recently who have experimented with different things, and then like insurance will change. So they have to go on a different compound. And they're like, I'm losing hair, but they are not, it's like a different dosage, or it's like they're mixing things and it's not name brand, it's like the off brand. And so I've heard a lot of different horror stories. So I think that also the fact that you gave yourself a good amount of time to really get your foundation set, you have a new baseline with how you feel. And I feel like you were very in tune with your body at that point. So for you to then start a GLP-1, if anything changes, you're like, ooh, that's not right, or that's different. And so you're just like, you just know your body better, and then you can communicate that to your doctor. So I think that like Jess said, like you were just literally the perfect candidate. You had all the data, you got yourself into a really good foundation. And then the fact that you also have a provider who's so willing to work with you, it was just perfect.
It was. And I'm thankful that Jess suggested it just as we were talking, just as like, hey, let's think about this, right? Because I probably wouldn't have just because of all those crazy horror stories you hear, right? Like, and half of them probably aren't even true. Like,
Well, it's scenario
but
based, right? Like it's scenario based. So for a woman going on a GLP-1 right off the bat, who's sleeping 3 hours a night, who has stress out the wazoo, who is binge eating, right? Who maybe is extreme calorie restricting and then binge eating and is not strength training and not doing all these things. If she goes on a 5 milligram dose all of a sudden, yeah, she's gonna have awful, awful side effects.
yeah.
She's gonna be throwing up. She's going to be having low energy, low libido. She's going to have awful bowel movements. And then in 6 months, which that is where some of the research is coming out, she might have osteoporosis at the start of it. So those are the things that the horror stories that were coming out of it. But what they're not seeing and what there wasn't enough of in the limelight was the people who are doing it right. And the clients who actually were missing this peptide in their body and needed it, just like maybe a man might need TRT, or a woman might need estrogen, or she might need progesterone. This is a naturally occurring peptide. And yes, there's still research that needs to be done on it in the long-term studies, but it's very, very clear that some people are just missing it from their bodies. And that low dose, coupled with the right foundations, is going to lead to the weight loss results that their body needs.
Mhm.
And so your journey's been fantastic. I think you are literally if your doctor doesn't use you for a case study example, like she's an idiot. Like because you are literally just a prime example and what she should show women and men alike how to go about this and how to utilize this for the long-term benefit and not just for a short-term relief. Like we do see a lot of women, because I think any woman who is going to watch the replay, watching it now, has that friend who's on it. And she's bragging to you about how she's lost 25 pounds in 2 months and she doesn't really have an appetite, so she can go to McDonald's 2 times a week, or excuse me, 2 times a day and be full, but still eat what she wants. But yet in 6 months, you no longer see this person on Instagram bragging about it.
Yeah.
You see the person hiding away because guess what? Their habits came back to haunt them when they stopped the inevitable injections. So it's really great because I know your success is going to continue even when the Ozempic is over, even when the journey is over with that. It's just going to continue because you have the foundations in place. I think this is an absolutely amazing conversation to have. It's a hard one to have as a coach. Christi and I both, like, it's one of those things where, like I said in the very beginning, when it first came out, it's almost like, is GLP-1 going to take the place of fitness trainers? Like is that what's happening here? And so many are against it for that way. But if we can open up to it and we can see how, when working in tandem together, this can become something so beneficial for so many people. I mean, you have to change with the times. And when good and amazing things come out, just like with technology, a lot of us have to open our eyes to some of the benefits of it. There's so many benefits to this, and you are a walking prime example of that. And so we really appreciate your time here, Melissa. We really do. I know you have a very busy schedule.
Well, I really appreciate you both for all the support you have given me during this, because I tell people all the time, there is no way I would have been able to do what I've done in the last year without you both and the team that you're on, just supporting me and guiding me and teaching me, because obviously I had no idea what I was doing. And, that was just a hot mess a year ago. So it's still a hot
And
mess,
now
but it's
it's
a
like
hot mess. So.
seeing you post on Instagram, I'm like, getting in my protein, like look at this macro friendly meal. And then like seeing like all your gym comments and like seeing how you've just become like a gym rat, like it makes me so happy just to see how you have completely transformed your lifestyle around it and how you treat the gym with respect and you respect your body. And it's not about how hard I can push my body. It's how can I push my body in a way that respects my body? And I'm doing this for the long term. And you've learned when to pull back in the right times. Whereas before it's like, you and I were maybe 4 weeks in, I think you got sick or something. You were like, peace out, I got to go to the gym. And I was like, oh,
Like,
maybe.
let's go while you're throwing up. That'd be good.
I was like, maybe we skip the cardio session today. And you're like, no, I'm fine. I was like, actually, you're not. So watching you unfold and actually getting the text from you that's like, hey, Jess, something's come up. I'm feeling really off. I think I'm going to go ahead and take off from the gym today and I'll see how I feel tomorrow. And I'm like, beautiful. It's like, I don't even have anything to add to that. Like, that's great. So it's been an amazing journey and one that honestly is just, I can't wait to continue this journey with you. So thank you so much. If anybody, you know, who is watching this is feeling stuck, or maybe they've been thinking about the GLP-1 but are scared because of everything that you talked about, you know, to reach out to us, because there's so much that we can do to help you with this journey, and make sure that whatever route you take, we'll make sure that the long-term results are ones that you can sustain. So
the other thing I would add too, which like if you have any questions, if you're listening to this back and you want to ask Melissa or us about anything specific, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. And if you know, we'll tag Melissa, and you know, we can also get her input if she doesn't respond right away or anything like that, and we'll get some answers. But yeah, I mean, this has been amazing, and I know we're right at the hour here. But I'm like tearing up, like listening to all this at the end. It's been such an amazing journey with you, Melissa. And I mean, we're just getting started. So. All right.
Perfect. Well, we will go ahead and log off. Melissa, thank you again.
Thank you.
Tell your boss I said thank you for extending her time. But also you're literally like the most valued employee there, so they can.
And Melissa probably has 100 fires to put out now.
My email counts up to 26, so I'm like,
oh my God. Forward them to me. I'll tell them you were busy. All right, Melissa, it was really good talking to you. Also sent your check-in early this morning, so whenever you get a chance, it's there.
yes, I'll go log on that. Sorry, it's been
no, you're fine. You had this today, so all right, I'll talk to you soon, girl.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.